Cleary.
I'm Andrew Lauder.
Andrew, where are we today?
We're at Bullitt.
Bullitt.
Spelled with an L-L-I-T-T.
2 T's. The
Two
extra
T's.
T is for extra.
Extra Steve
I
McQueen.
don't know. Yeah. Have you seen Bullitt?
I have. In fact, I actually rewatched it maybe 2 months ago. Like just came on and like it's a good movie. It's a tight little movie and it's got probably one of the best car chases ever filmed.
Yeah. Well, there's two things about that car chase. Well, people, when you live in San Francisco and you're watching the car chase, it's totally just.
I've been drunk on that corner.
Yeah. Well, it just doesn't make any sense because, like, he turns the corner and he's in Chinatown. He turns the corner and he's in, like...
He's on, like, the Bayshore Highway.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Going down Lombard from the Bayshore Highway somehow.
I mean, it's not going to ruin the movie for you. But, like, if you're,
in
San Francisco, you'd be like, this doesn't make any sense.
That's how you find the true San Francisco nerd in the crowd. There's like, well, you can't make a right from Stockton onto Broadway.
I can't believe that. It's like... when Gravity came out, Neil deGrasse Tyson, who generally I worship.
Yeah, he's been taking a lot of shit for this, mouthing off about this movie, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, he was tweeting all the scientific inaccuracies of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's nothing that would prevent you from enjoying the movie. It's
right.
like, he's like, oh, in this one scene, they're in zero gravity and our hair's not floating. It doesn't work for me.
Right. So if you do happen to find yourself adrift in space, don't use the movie Gravity as a template for what to do.
I feel like Neil deGrasse Tyson would be a great guy to sit down and have drinks with or go to dinner with, but a horrible person to go to a movie with.
I know, it's like take him to like Fast 5 or something like that. You just be like, oh my God, like you can't start a car that fast.
You can't start a car in 5.
Like judging by the downshift you just made there, he just went from 5th to 3rd, and that's not going to happen without blowing the engine out.
The other thing about Bullitt, and I rewatched. You sent me the car chase today, so I rewatched the car chase. And Steve McQueen's getting chased by these two old men.
It's great, isn't it? Because it's like it's totally like out of like the Kennedy assassination or something like that, where it's like these fucking suited figures like that are like that are basically look like accountants, and they're like
right, exactly. It's like give one guy like a trench coat and the other guy a shotgun,
right.
And it's like you're being like chased by these Republican like pollsters.
I think one of my favorite parts is too is. For some weird reason, like once the guy decides, oh, okay, I got a shotgun, we don't have to put up with this bullshit. I can just shoot him. He leans over into the back seat and rolls the window down. It's like, you know what? I think the shotgun will take care of that for you. If you're like, if you're into needing to shoot quickly, which in that situation you probably are, you don't really have to worry about the
Well, no, he's like, I don't want my insurance to go up.
It's like we're doing a rental. You think I made him money? Like I put my parents' credit card on this.
I spent all my money on the shotgun. I can't pay for the goddamn windshield.
But like, it is. I mean, if anybody hasn't seen it, like, definitely like look it up on YouTube or something like that.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
It's like, and the crazy thing I was thinking about it today is that, like, today that entire thing would be done like CGI or something like that. There's no way in hell they're gonna close down the whole, because that literally must have had to close down a lot of the city. Like at one point or another, because they're going, but full on jumping into like traffic and everything.
You can tell though they're like it's all like shot in like pieces.
Oh yeah. But even still, I mean, like that's just like the amount of like streets that they had to completely close down, and like there's just no room for error. You can't just like move it one way or another with the click of a button. Like
they showed that at Movie in the Park at Dolores Park a few years ago, and I got to be honest, like a lot of people thought it was really boring until the car chase. The car chase happened. Everybody woke up.
I wouldn't qualify that as like a good like out in a field movie. I mean, it's like aside from the car crash, it really is, or the car chase, it really is sort of a standard drama, I guess, like, with a lot of action going on.
I feel a lot of those 70s movies will seem boring to a lot of people nowadays because people's attention span is so much shorter. And, like, we have, like, Sandra Bullock in a space satellite coming apart. Like, I'm going to watch some guy chase another. You want to watch these two gentle old men, like, chase this good-looking guy?
You can, like, watch some haggard-looking chain smoker run away from two FBI agents.
Did we say where this bar is?
I'm not sure if we did.
I don't think we did.
It's on Polk, and it's
On
between Vallejo and Green, I think.
Yes. What would you call this neighborhood?
Is this? I guess this would be because we're right close to Union, so it sort of has to be Cow Hollow.
Yeah, or like Russian Hill.
Yeah.
I'm sure it has like its own little name because Polk Street's a really interesting street because it starts at Fisherman's Wharf, which is one very specific neighborhood.
Right.
It goes through here, which is kind of the marina-ish.
Yeah.
And the marina,
so sort of like tourists, assholes.
Right.
And then you get into like what? Like
then it goes to the Tenderloin.
Well, it goes to like Polk Gulch from there, right? Like sort of
Polk
like, which is
Gulch.
only like a few blocks long, right? And like and then you get into the Tenderloin, Tender Knob. It's just I guess Polk doesn't run through Tender Knob, does it?
No, I wouldn't say Tender Knob, but like it goes right through like this really the Tenderloin's a very hard like neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's like a lot of like methadone. There's a big methadone clinic down there, and there's a bunch of like street people living down there.
Right.
And
like if you walked it from Fisherman's Wharf to Market, like you would see a very different style of
the personality.
people.
Yeah, the personality changes completely. Like up here, it's all like I don't know, like. I feel like the marina is that extended collegiate experience, whereas a lot of like young people move there but then you get a little older and you're like, I don't want to see like some 24-year-old girl puking in the street anymore. So then you move over here.
Don't.
Believe me, it was fun while it lasted.
Well, like, I mean, this place isn't really, I mean, if you blindfolded me and put me in here, I wouldn't guess that it was based on the movie Bullitt at all. There's nothing, I don't see any memorabilia or anything. But, like, I mean, it is kind of a cool, like, I don't know, just shout out.
Is this an old bar?
No, I think this is pretty new. Actually, this is part of the whole Casey Lai empire.
Oh, Casey Lai's brother.
Yeah. Or I should say, Duncan Lai. I guess, like, Casey probably would get it if a bunch of people died.
Casey is a local comedian, and his brother is part of this bar.
They've got like
Stranglehold.
6 or 7 bars in the town. Like it's like there's every time you blink your eyes, they open another one.
He seems to do a good job, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know he has
I've
like
never been in it. You've been in Dr. Teeth before.
Dr. Teeth is a good bar.
Yeah, we'll probably go there eventually.
And but you know, I walked in here and I was like looking at the ceiling and everything, and I was like, I was going to give this place credit for not doing that sort of cliche interior design thing or put up the Edison lights.
Oh, right.
And then I was like, good for them. They didn't go with that. And I looked down and they have Edison lights on the bar.
They fucking like amped it up. They're like,
spoke too soon.
Like all of our drinks are served inside Edison lights.
God damn you. Like 10 years, you know how like every 10 years you have to make fun of the decade before? Like that's going to be the visual clue for the 2010s.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like, I remember all those idiots that thought that those lights were funny. But like, I actually went to the wrong place first because like the Bullitt sign like is sort of halfway between 2 bars, and like there's another very 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 small bar next to this. But I was worried that we'd have to record in there because like they'd hear us for God's sakes.
If you can't find the bar and you're drunk, you have an excuse. True. But like you're stone sober and you're like, where are you? I'm in the bar. I'm like, no, you're not.
It's like, I don't know which table you're under,
but. So. What did you do for Halloween last night?
Well, I did. I went out to dinner and avoided children in my house. Unfortunately, I left.
Do you have like trick-or-treaters at your neighborhood?
Yes, we do. Quite a bit. Like,
really?
It's a real pain in the ass.
Do you like that?
We did for the first couple of years, but then like,
and you're like, get the fuck out of
like,
here! I'm not made of candy.
There's people that like travel from other neighborhoods to come to our neighborhood, which is like,
why?
Because we're giving out shit, like, and so they're coming from like shitty neighborhoods to ours. Which is kind of weird because like it's not like we live in a super posh neighborhood. We just we just live in the one place you can walk around and not get shot.
Do you think some of those like libertarian Tea Party people are like, oh, Halloween, just looking for a handout?
Of course. It's like, oh, good job creating a holiday so that you can walk around getting free shit.
Yeah. For this year for Halloween, I'm handing out Rand Paul 2016 bumper stickers to kids.
Yeah, right. Well,
I'm giving them like a little like Fountainhead books.
All right, so you want to take a break? Grab a new drink and come back?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that.
And then we can talk about my Halloween because like you can tell I'm a little under the weather. because
It sounds like
there's
you had-
no rest for somebody like me.
Well, you're coming off of your big spill last week, so you come into an already busy, slammed Halloween week.
Yeah.
And what do the Red Sox do but fucking go over and have to win a World Series in the middle of it?
Right. I'll tell you all about my last week. I'm ready to like hibernate for like 2 months.
Well, at least stay tuned for the next 45 minutes or whatever, and then you can go ahead and tune it out.
All right, we'll be back, and we are back.
Hold on to your knickers, girls.
Is that your new catchphrase?
Yeah, actually, it's from the movie Spice World. So I don't want to take that away from them.
Right. You're going to repopularize that that thing that was never popular.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like looking out the window. The great thing about this bar is that they have this huge like window in the front, and you can watch whatever's going on in the street. And what I'm watching right now is this dog on his back, like scratching his back.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, like there's a coffee place across the street, and the dog is literally lying on its back with its feet in the air, like an idiot.
Right, exactly. He's doing an impression of his owner when on the weekends.
Exactly. But we should say we're at. Did you say we're at Bullitt?
Yeah, we're at Bullitt.
Polk and
Polk
Vallejo.
and Vallejo. The other interesting thing about this bar, not just the windows, because I love bars where you can sit in the window and just sort of people watch.
Sure.
Or dog watch in my case.
Right.
The other thing about this bar is they have Maker's Mark on tap, which
do.
sounds like a fucking bad idea.
It does.
And they also have Fernet on tap.
Which is even worse idea, since Fernet tastes so much worse than Maker's Mark.
And they also have something called Fireball on tap.
Oh, isn't that that's like a cinnamon flavored whiskey or something like that? That's fucking gross. That's for
These
kids.
ideas just get worse and worse.
Like that's, I mean,
But who knows,
it's basically an updated schnapps, right? I mean, like it's for kids. Like, it's like, oh, you don't like that whiskey? We put some gum in it. Here you go.
Was it Dennis Leary who said like schnapps? It's like for people who want to get a little drunk, but they also want candy.
No, that was eggnog.
Eggnog. Oh no, that was David.
Or they also
Tao.
want pancakes.
Pancakes. I want to get a little drunk, and I also want pancakes.
I actually watched what was it, Captain Miserable?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Which it's great, and at the time I remember saying like, well, it's not as good as Gangster Memories, and feeling like sort of like cheated or something like it, but it's still like one of the best comedy specials in the last like 20 years.
Dave Attell used to mean everything to me, and a friend of mine like worked with him recently, and he said, yeah, it's not happening anymore.
Ah, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. Really sad to hear.
Yeah. Oh, just that he's not funny, or that he's a dick or something?
No, he didn't say he was a dick. He said he was a really nice guy. He just felt like he's kind of fallen off his game.
Yeah. Well, he actually quit drinking, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I mean, like that, and
draw your own conclusion, people.
Well, he sort of like painted himself into a corner, like sort of the way that Dave Chappelle thinks he did, like where, like David tells I can't go out anymore without douchebags hassling me to buy me drinks or whatever, or just like everybody seems like, oh, I'm you're that insomniac guy, like you're the guy we're gonna hang around with all night.
It is kind of rough for him.
It's a shitty problem to have, right? I know it's like
but
everybody loves me.
Well, it's the thing, like he was at his peak when he was like going to bars, staying up late, and getting hammered. And then I think like his health, he had like health issues. So like people probably see him now and be like, yeah, let's get drunk. And he's like, yeah, I don't drink anymore. Like, oh, fuck you.
They're like, oh, well, fine. Then here's a big mountain of Coke. It's like, no, I can't do that either.
Oh, you can still party though, right?
Well, you're not dead yet.
Yeah.
So who directed Bullitt?
Oh, I have no idea.
It was Peter Yates.
Peter Yates, didn't he do 2010?
You're
no,
thinking
was
Peter
Hyams.
Hyams. Yeah. Peter Yates also did Breaking
Engine?
Away.
Breaking Away?
And then he did Krull. And then his career sort of dipped after that.
Well, after Krull, he's like, I've accomplished everything I set out to do.
Exactly. Like, I rest my case. Peter Yates versus the people.
I saw Krull when it was in the theater in Philadelphia in a black movie theater. And it was exactly like every stereotypical comedian's joke about black movie theaters. It's like, people are screaming at the screen.
It is too bad when people actively go towards the stereotype, and then you want to say, look, you guys aren't doing yourselves any favors.
Yeah, but if you're watching Krull and people are screaming at the screen, it's only going to make it better. You know,
Oh, God,
if you're
yeah.
watching Terms of Endearment and they're screaming at the screen,
Right.
like in a Krull, they're like, "Ooh, the monster's not dead." And like, you know, if you're watching Terms of Endearment, you're like, "Ooh, she got cancer." That's not gonna work.
Right. Well, I remember seeing. This is back when I lived in the Bronx, and we went to a local theater to watch the movie The Cell with
Oh yeah,
Jennifer
yeah,
Lopez.
terrible movie.
And I would say the reaction from the crowd went from really confused and angry, and then whenever like Jennifer Lopez would show up like with like half of her clothes off or something like that, the whole crowd would just in uniform go,
That's right.
"Damn!"
She's from the Bronx.
Yeah, and like anytime you'd see her from the back, there'd be a few guys going, "God damn!"
Gasping.
Son of a bitch.
So let's talk about Halloween.
We can talk about Halloween, and then we'll put off the Red Sox again, since everybody knows what happens there.
Everybody.
But nobody knows what
I
happened
feel
to you
like-
on Halloween.
I feel like people never get tired of hearing Red Sox fans talk about how great
How
their
could
team
they?
is.
I mean, like, do you have like a girlfriend with a pink hat and like
And daddy
Tom
issues?
Brady jersey? And, like,
Yeah. No, so Halloween, I went out. First off, like, I know you're kind of on the fence about Halloween. I really like it.
yeah,
But
I don't have anything against it. I just like
I kind of, like, when walking, I just love walking around seeing costumes last night.
yeah.
But my favorite thing about Halloween is seeing people in costume doing, like, normal things.
Right.
Like,
Putting money in the meter.
right, well, you know, like, I had breakfast at this crepe store or whatever on Valencia Street, and I'm there, and it's like, you know, noon,
Right.
and there's this couple sitting in the place. She's dressed like Daryl Hannah from Kill Bill with like the nurse's outfit and the eye patch.
Right.
He's dressed like a John Wayne Gacy sort of like murder clown.
Okay.
Right? And they're
Naturally.
having a long, boring conversation about their relationship. I was just like,
Well, it's great that he has a reference now. He'll always be able to remember that shitty conversation because, like, he'll be like, "Oh yeah, that was the fight where I was dressed as a homicidal clown."
right. But like, you know, like if you're in a relationship and the girl wants to talk about where this is going, you
Right.
have to have that conversation. You can't be like me and be like, "Hey, I'm dressed like a murder clown." Can we like, could you pick one of the other fucking days of the year that
I'm trying to be serious here.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, she's like, I could hear her. And she's like, well, what do you want out of this relationship? It's like, I would never be able to have that conversation in costume.
Right.
Like, I'd be like, what do I want out of this relationship? Well, since I'm dressed like a clown, maybe a fucking slide whistle or something.
Please, I want you to stop trying to kill me with a katana blade. Do you mind?
So I love that element of Halloween. But I also I love those costumes where, for me, like if you go as like the Wolfman or like whatever, like Frankenstein, like you've just fucking failed.
Right.
You've got an F in Halloween. Like you gotta have, like I saw some great costumes. I saw a girl last night who was one of the backup like dancers in the Addicted to Love video.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I was like, where's Robert Palmer? And she's like, you're the only one that gets it. I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's like, you've been waiting for a girl to say that to you.
Exactly.
Like, you're the only one with the pop culture mind I need. Like, I would put Walter White like in that category this year as
Yeah.
well. Like anybody that went with that, like
Although I like the costume.
0 points.
Yeah, I mean that was a really popular one this year.
Yeah.
I think Joe Gorman wrote that like the Walter White this year is the Heath Ledger Joker of like 3 years ago.
I actually saw like the best. Well, I should ask you, like, since you were actually out and about, and I was holed up like a hermit. What was the best costume that you saw, or was that one of them? Like the
Well, I did run into a girl. I went as Alien from Spring Breakers, and I did run into a girl who was wearing a pink ski mask and walking around with a gun. She was not in a bikini.
boo, boo! I say.
I mean, we were like very happy to have like bumped into each other. I can't be like, take your clothes off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you
Like, I
doing?
can't be
This
a
is supposed
jerk.
to be Tampa or something. Like, what are you doing in clothes?
Right. And it was really fun to see her. There were a lot of Lou Reeds last night too.
Well, that's disturbing.
Yeah. I'm like,
Were they? I mean, was it just Lou Reed, or did they go the extra mile? And were they supposed to be zombie Lou Reed?
no. I think it was all like a tribute.
Okay.
Like there was one year that they made a joke about this on South Park too. There was one year that the crocodile hunter died right before Halloween.
Oh, okay.
And there were all these people like who went into crocodile hunter. Some guys had like stingrays, like glued to their chest.
Did they go the extra mile and have the orphaned child as well? I mean, like, if you're gonna do it, fucking do it.
It's kind of like you want to far be it from me to tell someone like that something's in bad taste, but.
Right.
And then there was one year that Payne Stewart died right before Halloween, and I saw some people dressed like Payne Stewart.
Were they actually in a plane with no air?
You've taken something that's really bad and made it worse every time.
Well, I saw I think the best one that I saw was, I forget where on the internet, but it was a person that was basically dressed like the final frame of the credits to Cheers.
Oh yes, I did see that too.
Yeah, where it's like the guy's got like a piece of plastic with like the created by Glenn Charles, Glenn Burroughs, whatever, and then he's holding a beer that actually holds that up as well, and he's got like the bowler hat and like I'd be like 99 times out of 100, I'm gonna hate that guy. Because he's like kind of going for the steampunk, 20s, mustachioed guy, but like I actually I enjoyed that. My heart's not made of stone.
That kind of brings me to our next subject. In 2004, I always said that if the Red Sox were in jeopardy of winning the World Series.
Oh wait, before you get to that, before we get off of Halloween,
you want to do another Halloween one?
There was one I saw I think it was a Twitter post from Patrick Stewart, or maybe an Instagram or something, where he was dressed as a giant lobster and was lying in a bathtub laughing his ass off. And there was another video recently too of Patrick Stewart stoned out of his fucking head and teaching his 25-year-old girlfriend acting lessons or like that, while he's high and laughing the whole time.
Wow.
And I was like, what a fucking great life this guy has.
He is a really interesting cat. I think he's one of those classically trained Shakespearean actors. There's been
totally,
this.
Yeah.
If I'm getting this right, it's a very renowned Shakespearean troupe in England.
Yeah.
And from Sir John Gielgud to Sir Laurence Olivier to
right.
Ray Fiennes, and I think Patrick Stewart was in there as well. And what he wants to do is he does goofy stuff on Family Guy.
Yeah.
Not Family Guy, American Dad.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He plays the FBI director in American Dad, and then he's in Ricky Gervais's show Extras, which is an amazing cameo.
I haven't seen his new show, the midget one. Or is there a one where he plays a retarded guy or something?
Who?
Ricky Gervais.
I haven't seen that.
It looks like there's no way he could land that.
Is it called Looking for an Award?
It's just called Hey, Aren't Retarded People Funny? But so anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So in 2004,
some baseball happened, right?
You were talking about the guy who went as the Cheers credits, which is so goddamn obscure. Oh, by the way, I also saw.
Not, that. It's not obscure to people that see it, but it's an obscure idea.
I saw a lot of last night bullpen cops.
Okay.
From the Red Sox
game.
Oh,
that's great, actually. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. What? But how could you tell? Did they have Green Monster behind them or something? Or
no, all he had to do is hold his hands up, and they got a beard and a cop,
right.
And I'm that's great.
Okay, all right, good, yeah.
So in 2004, when I always said if the Red Sox were in jeopardy of winning the World Series, I honestly never thought I would see it because I had been burned by them for so many years, and so in 2004, I flew back there to be there, just to be in Boston, and just stayed up all night. And it's you couldn't get in or out of the city. We got in there early, and as soon as they won, it was just madness. Everybody was super happy, and I ended up at Cheers.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
of all places.
Isn't there? And I have they have these flyers, or there's one of the images in the Cheers theme.
Oh, Sox win.
Sox win. The guy's holding up a
right.
And they had printed up a bunch of those, and so I got a couple of those. Me and my friend Lisa went down there. It's kind of an interesting story. The year before, in 2003, It was the year that Grady Little left Pedro in too long, and they lost on a Aaron Boone home run to the Yankees.
Right, I remember that.
And when they blew the lead, the game wasn't over. It was like the 7th inning when they tied it up.
Right.
And I was at Zappos, and we were watching in the break room. I just get up and walk to my desk, and I'm just sitting there, and my friend Lisa comes over. She's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm like, I don't know if I can do it again this year, Lisa. I can't. Every fucking year I get my heart broken, and like I get all my like hopes up, and I'm just like, I'm babbling about like all this, everything that's wrong.
Like tears streaming down your face.
And she's like, "Just stay here. I'll be right back." So she went down to the store and bought like a bottle of champagne.
Right.
And she said, she put it on my desk, and she's like, "When they win, we'll drink that." And I was like, "Oh, that's nice." And she kind of cheered me up, so I went back in. Of course, they fucking lost. And I went home and started to think like, and then like the next day, she looks at the bottle of champagne. She's like, "I don't care if we're 80 years old. You and I will drink that in Boston when they win." And I was like, "Oh, this is you're such a nice person," and like all stuff. And then like I honestly thought like, I could be 80 years. I may not live long enough to see this. And lucky for us, we only had to wait another year. And then the two of us flew out to Boston, drank it behind Fenway, and
Kicked a homeless guy and flew back.
yeah. You sent me that there was a guy the morning after they won the World Series who called into
to EEI, like
to a sports talk radio show to complain about how the
it was
manager.
the morning after, like the morning after they won, and like what
a worthless motherfucker.
but they had to they won at like what, midnight Eastern or something. So this guy like literally just woke up after what is I can only assume was quiet celebration because he was kind of frustrated or something because he like calls into the radio like the very next day, and he's like I just feel like the coach really fucked up a lot.
Farrell left. He was playing the wrong guys.
He
left people in too long.
Fucking left Lackey in too long, and it's like, what are you talking about? They just won like 6 hours ago.
My friend Paul's like, "This is why people hate us." Can you imagine somebody in like Cleveland having to to see that? Like, oh my God. Also, right before the Red Sox won, there was a Deadspin article about how Bobby Valentine, who was the manager the year before, who was very infamously removed from his position because everybody hated him.
Right.
He said that like he likes to think that he would have the same success if they had kept him.
He's like, well, sure. Now that I set the team up for success, you all give credit to the new guy.
My fingerprints are all over that championship. Yeah. In the 2013 Most Delusional Award goes to Bobby Valentine.
But I hope it works out for that guy that is really upset. I figure maybe after they win like 10 in a row, he'll like buy a beer or something for himself.
It really, what a goddamn ingrate. Like I said, if you were someone from Cleveland, and you saw that, you'd just be like, oh, I'm gonna murder this person.
Well, imagine like if he said that to like one of the players. It was like, you guys did great, but like I'm just really kind of upset the way you played like the 9th inning of like the DLCS or whatever. You're like, go fuck yourself.
What the hell, dude? The whole city of Lynn should be embarrassed.
Lynn. Good job, Lynn. And no, you're not named after Freddie. All right, you want to take a break?
Sure. Let's take a break. Let's take a break and we'll come back. We can talk about the bar and the
Bullitt's
menu.
starting to fill up now. Like people, it's Friday night.
Friday night after Halloween. Everybody should be as hungover as I am. All right, we will be back from Bullitt. All right, when we are back at Bullitt,
starring Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen. In Technicolor. Remember when they used to say that on television? In Technicolor.
Like Quinn Martin was a big believer in color television. He's just like, fucking Barnaby Jones in color.
Hey, can I have a little bitch session here for a second?
No, please. Go
ahead.
Now that your team won the World Series, I guess you can get back to being miserable.
I'm going to complain about something that's supposed to be like sort of righteous and true.
All right.
I'm having a Guinness here.
Yes.
And one of the
other things they have on tap, correct?
Yeah. And if you are someone like me and you watch a lot of sports, or you've been watching the World Series,
right?
You have to see this Guinness commercial about 70 times a day where these guys are playing wheelchair basketball.
Yes,
And
I'm aware of it.
And I think they're playing like Muse or some fucking band where the guy just howls.
Yeah, like Coldplay or something really meaningful and British.
Right, so it's like the whole
probably.
Gist of the commercial is that, like, yeah, they're playing wheelchair basketball, and then, like, 4 of the 5 guys get up out of the chairs, and one of the guys has no legs, and they're all buddies, right? And they're talking about, like, this is about loyalty, and this is about, like, standing up for your...
It's about mocking your friend is what it's about.
Right, yeah, you know, like, yeah, and they're saying, like, yeah, this is a really, like, you have stood up for your friends when he needs you, and, like, you're willing to go and, like, to do... But it's just like... Really, what they're saying is like, hey, my friend lost his legs, and I didn't treat him like a goddamn leper.
We didn't, like, throw him into the ocean. We actually, like, we'll hang out with him and pretend to be crippled like him.
I didn't pretend. I didn't automatically write him off as a deformed monster.
Right.
Somebody owes me a beer.
Imagine if they're playing basketball and he's like, hey, I got these wheelchairs for you guys. And they're like, no. Like, you're not sucking us down to your level. We're going to play standing up. And then they just dominate him, block every shot. Just dump him out. It's like, foul. It's like, we'll give you your shots.
Don't call your own foul. You kicked me out of my wheelchair.
That's continuation. No, it isn't. You pushed me into the street.
It's like the most self-congratulatory thing in the world. Where it's just like, yeah, it's like, yeah, aren't we great? We didn't like totally ostracize this guy when he lost his legs. He was a good friend of ours, and we're big enough to accept him with his disability.
Like Guinness, the beer for people that don't euthanize crippled people.
Exactly. We're going to treat our friend like he's a real human being.
It's like, even though he might not understand what's happening, I'd like to think that somewhere inside he's grateful to us.
He's like, I like to call him half man.
I just lost my foot. Like, I have no idea what's going on.
This guy's like picking up his dog across the street.
Oh, this is the dog that was laying on his back, correct?
That dog's name ought to be Trouble because he keeps fucking around.
If you come to Bullitt, sit in the window, look at Royal Ground Coffee across the street, and
look at this beautiful like golden Labrador who is
dog.
Just causing trouble left and right.
That's right. He'll probably eat a baby later and have to be put down. But
so you've been looking at the menu.
I have been perusing.
Perusing?
I have been, yes. And
good word.
It looks like looks like they got some decent appetizers. They got seems like tater tots are like very in vogue at the moment. Where it's like, yeah, like every bar's got to have like a sort of gourmet version.
Are we going to go through that shit again? Like that sort of like white trash chic thing?
Yeah, like I almost feel like that's the only thing that's stuck. Where everybody's like, mayonnaise sandwiches, no thanks. But we can turn tater tots into something aptly interesting.
That goddamn, what was that bar in South of Market? Butter. Oh my God, that bar was the worst. It was like.
I don't think I've ever been there, actually. Like,
I mean, it's like...
A friend of the show, Drew Harmon, went there recently on a Groupon. Of particular interest to many of our listeners.
Oh, well, maybe you can call in and tell us about his Groupon.
Like, do we have a phone number for Drew Harmon? Can we get him out of work?
We should just have walkie-talkies with Drew, so, like, we don't even have to dial.
That's right. Like, Harmon, pick up.
But, like, yeah, Butter was this, like, white trash chic thing where it's like... They were selling tater tots and grilled cheese sandwiches out of like a trailer inside the bar, and they were all the whole time like giving you a wink and a nod, like, yeah, isn't it funny? We're acting like we're rednecks. Get out of here.
I liked actually John Hodgman, Boston resident or Boston native. He had a funny tweet about the Red Sox where he mentioned that because of their beards, he was like, yeah, these guys are all going to go enjoy cans of beer and hanging out at the secret ramen place they found tonight.
What?
It's like they're all going to wear like cuff jeans and like drink cans of Pabst while they go find that secret ramen place.
None of the guys on the Red Sox would get that joke.
Of course not.
They'll be like, what is he talking about? Like, that's like a joke about hipsters and beards.
Like, yeah.
There's nobody, I don't think there's any hipster in Major League Baseball.
Oh, but Joe Madden would be furious that anybody would call one of the Red Sox a hipster.
Joe Madden is probably the only hipster, the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Right.
He, untellable story about Joe Madden. We used to joke because he wears like black rimmed glasses like a hipster, and we used to joke that he was like a hipster and he wanted like flaming lips to sing the national anthem all the time. Like he sees that
Deer hoof to sing the
right.
7th inning stretch.
Right, exactly. And now to sing "God Bless America." Here's Modest Mouse. But so we would make all these jokes, and then I was reading that like on like road trips, he likes to keep it loose. So one of the things, he has these themes on their road trips. Right. And like one time it was like pajama theme, like everybody like showed up in pajamas and they're on the bus. But then there was one that Madden came up with. He's like, it's skinny jeans road trip.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's just like, wait a minute.
Is this a baseball team or is this like improv everywhere? What the fuck?
Right. Well, I mean, I was like, we were making that joke, and then we were like, wait a minute, maybe it's not a joke. Like, maybe he is. And like, he has this like thing where there's a couple of days where he doesn't. Like, he lets his one of his coaches manage the team because he's kind of grooming him to be the next coach.
Right.
And, like, I don't even think he shows up. I mean, he's just, like, as a sort of vote of confidence, he lets the guy do everything.
He just, like, drives by in his, like, vintage Impala every now and again.
Right, well, I was like...
lowers the suspension like Ice Cube.
Well, like, how much you want to bet, like, those games that, like, he lets that guy, like, manage are, like, the same dates as, like, Bonnaroo?
Now, I'll be in George Washington scouting.
Right.
Like you mean the Gorge? Like fucking Sasquatch?
Right. I'm at the Sasquatch Festival. Yeah, don't worry. He walks back in with a Tame Impala shirt on.
Well, speaking of hipster bands, actually, it's funny because like there's a band called Holy Fuck out of Canada, I believe. That's sort of like an instrumental hipster band or whatever. But they have a video called Red Light. So it's like Holy Fuck Red Light if you search it on YouTube. And basically, it uses the same chase footage from Bullitt.
Oh, really?
But it puts in cats driving the car. So enjoy that.
That's great. There's another Canadian band, I think from Toronto, called Fucked Up. And they're kind of a punk band. And I think their last album is amazing. The guy's voice is a little hard to get used to because they're coming from like a punk background. Okay. The guy's just like he's this huge dude and he just like screams. But like once you get used to it, it's kind of like Slater Kinney. Once you get used to the voice, you're gonna love this band.
Oh, wow.
You know, I know some people who still don't like Slater Kinney because they don't like the way that girl's voice like kind of shrill.
Yeah.
And but like once you get over that, like that band's awesome.
Right. I can see that. That sounds good. But yeah, I mean, like I think I got your basic starters and.
Oh, you're talking about the menu now?
Yes. These particular sliders are edible. But yeah, they got sandwiches. Rodney Dangerfield sandwich. But
there's a Rodney Dangerfield sandwich. Does it get any respect?
You can get a deer and a beer, which is Cazadores tequila and Dos Equis for $11.
Deer and a beer. I would think you would be getting venison, right?
Well, no, it's like Cazadores tequila I think has a deer on it. Like
doesn't like Jägermeister too?
Oh, it could be Jägermeister. Yeah, like I guess Jägermeister's got a deer on it.
I'm so glad like Halloween is over, and like you said, like I really go all out for Halloween. I have like such a great time, and now like I'm like ready to hibernate and just sort of like I know like
drink your way through Thanksgiving and Christmas. Perfect. It's the drinking season.
I took my cornrows out today.
Right.
And so like I tipped my hat to my cornrows. Like they served me well.
And now you look vaguely like Joakim Noah.
I know. Like my hair's all wavy now.
It's kind of. I think it's great though. Like it's like it makes you look like you're of a different ethnicity than you are. Like
that's what I was going for.
You're like that guy doesn't look Irish or Italian at all.
Yeah,
like he looks like he must be from the subcontinent somewhere, like in
from
Africa.
Behind. You wouldn't know what ethnicity I am.
Right, like all you gotta do is like maintain a good tan, I suppose, and like and who knows?
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Exactly.
So yeah, like now that like Halloween is over,
yeah.
I'm good. But I know like a lot of people across the country, they ramp up for the holidays. My holiday is just over now, so now I'm gonna go home for Thanksgiving, and then I'll be back here for Christmas. And I really love being here for Christmas.
Yeah.
Because like the city really empties out and it's just so quiet.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready for some. I mean, certainly people always say that like winters in San Francisco are really cold, but like especially in East Bay, it's not at all. So like I'm ready for colder weather for sure.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know. I'm a fan of. I'm not a huge fan of the sunshine, being one of the palest people that's ever lived. So it's always nice when winter comes around and like I'm not so much out of my element. Being the light.
The sun is not your friend.
Exactly. Fuck sun. But, so what's I mean, speaking of Fernet and on tap, what's the worst cocktail you think you've ever had?
Ooh, well, I know the worst cocktail I can conceive of is a Jersey Turnpike.
Yeah, but that might not be so bad. That's kind of like a risk. But it could. What if they just like poured a bunch of champagne and you're just drinking champagne?
If people don't know, a Jersey Turnpike is at the end of the night. You know, there's like a little catch, a plastic,
like strips.
Strips underneath like where they make the drinks.
Right.
So it captures all the spillover from all the drinks for the entire night.
Right.
If you pour that into a glass and somebody drinks it, that's a Jersey Turnpike.
Or even better, just pick it up and throw it down your throat without putting it in a glass.
Why don't you snort it up? Then we're gonna like one up each other here.
What about one that you've actually ingested? Is there anything that you've purposely done that you feel like you'd never do again?
I was kind of reminded of this one thing when we were talking about the fireballs that they have here. There's like this schnapps called Hot Damn Cinnamon Schnapps.
Yeah.
And I was at.
I'm aware of it. It's mostly like melted Jolly Ranchers, isn't it?
It's disgusting. It's like super hot, lots of cinnamon, and super sweet.
Yeah.
Gross.
Right. It's like what are those candies? Not Mike and Ike's, because those are licorice. I guess hot tamales, right?
Yeah, hot tamales.
It's like if you melted a bunch of hot tamales and poured like a little bit of vodka in it. That's what you'd wind up with. I think the worst thing that I've ever had was the result of our fantasy basketball league. Maybe we've talked about this before, but that was where I called my own drinks all night.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And you guys had to come up with a quick plan to get me to stop.
Oh, that's right.
And that involved just telling the bartender straight away we wanted our friend to stop drinking. And
we were at the Wishing Well.
Yes.
And
is that still that's something else now, right?
It's called the Fireplace or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was in the Inner Sunset, and the bartender, his name was Bo.
Right.
How come I can't like take a test? But I can remember the name of a bartender from 15 years ago.
No one asks that.
Exactly. It's not on the civil service exam. Like, who used to bartend at the Wishing Well back in like 1993?
Well, I'd like to think that as a result of remembering something as obscure as that, you've like forgotten how to drive. Or something.
That's
lost
true.
Like a huge.
So yeah, we went over to Bo and we said, all right, like he won our fantasy basketball league, so we have to buy him drinks all night.
Right.
We need to put a fucking end to this. All right, and we are back.
Hello.
Bullitt.
A Quinn Martin production, or filmed by Peter Hyams.
I was looking at my Guinness here, and it's not an imperial pint, as Joe Tobin explained last week what an imperial pint is.
It's a cute little Guinness. I mean, it's probably a regular pint.
Probably about 16 ounces. It might be a little less. I can't really tell. We should have. I mean, like
kind of
how much?
Well, because like Guinness glasses sort of go in at the bottom naturally, like it almost to make a smaller one, it does look like it could be.
I mean, and it has the word Guinness on it, and I feel like if you're Guinness and you're selling shitty pints,
right,
you would never do that, you know?
Yeah, they would never allow that, right?
They would never allow that.
The Irish have our back, right?
They better.
They wouldn't let us drink shitty beer.
You ever see the movie The Snapper?
Yes. Great movie.
It's an Irish. It's a great movie. Yeah.
Who's in who's the girl in that?
I don't know the girl's name, but it's.
What's an Irish actor? Let's call her Maggie Mick.
I forget the. I forget the name of the guy who plays the dad. But
Colm Meaney?
Colm Meaney, right?
Yeah.
So it's an Irish movie, and it's about a girl who gets pregnant, and everybody's like trying to figure out who the father is, and or what they're gonna do. And there's like scenes where like she's like pregnant, she's showing, and she's like at the pub with her friends, like knocking back Guinness.
Right.
And there's no like, there's not even a. They don't even address it. It's just like, that's just the way it is.
Like, you get the feeling if somebody did address it, everybody would be like, ha, ha, ha.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's just
listen to the Surgeon General over here.
You know, like, that was an American movie and she drank while she was pregnant, there would have to be some sort of consequence to that.
Yeah,
because
totally,
America would be like, oh, we can't let this girl get away with it. We got to have our kid have flipper feet or something.
Well, and even, I mean, like, going back to the place where we are, I mean, like, yeah, I almost feel like unless your movie is, like, off the charts cartoonish, you know, you couldn't have a movie today necessarily where the cop, like, leads the bad guys on, like, some huge destructive chase through a city.
Oh, right.
And everything turns out great. Like, they're like, oh yeah, it turns out he was right, and like, got, blah blah blah. Like,
yeah, that would not fly.
Yeah.
I'm like positive that my mom doesn't smoke, but I'm positive she probably had wine while she was pregnant with me. It would fucking explain a lot.
I mean, I remember as an infant riding around with my grandparents in the car and like going on like road trips from like Lake Havasu City, Arizona to like Las Vegas. You know, the places where you want to bring a child.
Yeah, you know.
And like they would have all of the windows rolled up in the car, and everybody would be chain smoking. So we would hotbox it literally, like from the like it was a rolling car bong from like from Lake Havasu, like a good 3 or 4 hour drive, I think.
Your mom says to your dad, "Should we put little Andrew in the children's seat?" He's like, "Nah, I don't have time for that."
I don't know, give him a rope or something to hang on to. Strap him to the top.
Yeah, I remember when
cigarette smoke's bad for him. Put him in the trunk.
I remember in Massachusetts when they were trying to mandate people use seatbelts, and people were like, "This is bullshit."
Right.
Like, you fucking idiot.
I want to say, I mean, like, I remember when you moved out to Southern California. I think, because like we're probably at the very tail end of people that like would think that it was kind of silly to use seatbelts. You know,
yeah.
Like. And so I remember, like, when you moved out to Southern California, like you were, I wouldn't call you a big proponent of the seatbelt, like, at that point. Because it was just, like, like, you're just used to driving around, like, whatever, the suburbs or, like,
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, like, there's no way that our generation is not going to sound like the oldest people in the world.
Oh, God, no. Yeah,
because we remember when nobody had cell phones. Right. We remember when people didn't use seatbelts.
Right.
We remember when, like, smoking wasn't bad for you.
When information was not available at all.
There was no internet. Like, there's no GPS. Right. Like, if you got lost, you had to, like, pull over to a gas station and make a pay phone call.
Right.
So
if you want to find anything, good luck looking it up in the encyclopedia or at a library.
Right, exactly. So it's just we're doomed to sound like a bunch of like crotchety old men in our like early 50s.
Well, if the rate of like change like continues to increase, like in 10 years, we'll sound like we're 400 years old. Where people would be like, "What do you mean you don't have that technology where everything you dream exists in front of you, in your face?" You'd be like, "Oh, I remember having to go to the store."
One last thing about the Snapper. There's a great scene where Colin Meaney is his daughter, his pregnant daughter. They get into a fight, and so she's like, "All right, I'm moving out," and then he's like, "No, I don't want you to go." And he's like, "I'm sorry." He apologizes. And she's like, "No, I'm moving out. I can't take this anymore." And he just starts crying. Right. And then like he's like, "Please don't go. Please don't go." And she's like, "Okay, I won't move out." And then he stops and he's just like, "Oh, I haven't cried like that. I can't remember last time I cried like that." And she's like, "You cried during the World Cup last year." He goes, "I mean sober."
So speaking of smoking, there's a gentleman at the bar, like over your shoulder, that has what we were talking about with Drew Harmon the other day. He has one of those. He has a huge vapor cigarette. Like it's even bigger than the ones I've seen. It's like it's a screwdriver at this point. I
feel like the jury's still out on this. Like I don't know how I feel about it.
It looks dumb. Like, and I will say that even as somebody who's tried it and done it before, like it's I guess it's convenient and it's like it's polite in that you're not like blowing noxious fumes in people's faces and stuff like that. So it's hard to be like totally anti, against it. But
like I mean, it is sort of jarring because like I was at the Punchline, Ivan Hernandez was on the stage, and of course like some guy is like puffing on his mist.
Yeah, like vapor or like,
vapor.
Yeah.
And like all the smoke is like starting to like rise up.
Right.
And Ivan just goes, "Is that an electric cigarette?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You look like a douchebag from the future." So
tell me about your non-douche world.
Right. So I mean, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I mean, who knows? It may be just one of those things like a razor scooters or recumbent bikes. It's like there's all
Not
this.
for me.
There's like, you know, like people who like ride recumbent bikes or like, you know, I'll tell you all about how much better it is for you than like riding a regular bike. But it's just like you want to be like, yeah, but there's no way not to look stupid.
Yeah,
Like
exactly,
it's like same thing with like you see some guy downtown going to work on a razor scooter and a fucking helmet, and you're just like, all right, man. Like that's fine. You're getting to work faster than everybody else, but there's no way not to look stupid.
Right. You look foolish. So what do you think of this place? What?
I like it. I mean, I'm having a good time. Like you know what? Like I feel like your experience and my experience is totally different because I'm facing the window, and not only do I get to look at the beautiful dog who is like rolling around still across the street, but I get to see all the beautiful women who are walking by.
Yeah. Well, and
this,
I can certainly.
This neighborhood is that has that in spades.
It does. Yeah. I mean, because like you're close to Union Street, so you've got sort of that marina spillover.
Lots of attractive, healthy. Like there's a lot of people running.
Yeah.
Exercising.
Like they look intolerable as people, but as specimens, they're very nice. I sound like
are you
Goebbels or something.
Are you starting some sort of eugenics?
Like, well, let's not attach labels to it like that quickly.
Sure, she's not great to listen to, but her genes are really top of the food chain.
Natural selection has been her friend.
Yeah, I like this bar. The bartender is nice to me when I first got here.
It's a very simple little place. I mean, it's not like I don't know. I certainly wasn't expecting a full-on like statue of Steve McQueen and like a half of a '68 Mustang in the wall or something like that.
I wonder if it's one of those things, kind of like Dr. Teeth, like when Casey's brother.
It has nothing to do with the Muppets, right?
Yeah. Well, when they opened it, they called it Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
Yeah.
Which is a Muppet reference, a very specific,
Seems
long.
like they should have called that place like "Please Sue Us" or something.
Yeah, or like if you want to call it Mayhem, that's fine, or whatever. But I guess they got because the Disney owns the Muppets now.
Right.
They sent them a letter, basically saying, "We're not going to sue you for the name, but we don't want you to put anything Muppet related in there." So that was kind of the deal that they struck.
We'll have to track down this Duncan fellow, Duncan Lai, and see if part of their plan is to name the place something where they'll get sued, so they'll get publicity for it.
Yeah,
it's like well, their next bar is going to be called like Lindsay Lohan's a drunk.
The Avengers.
Batman in the bar.
Yeah, so maybe it's something like that where, well, it's called Bullitt. I guess Bullitt's like public, like what do you call it?
Yeah, it's hard
like
to say because
pop culture.
It's it is its own word and own spelling. So, and it's it's kind of undeniable that where they're taking it from, even though they have no memorabilia up. Like it's you can't really say, oh, it's the other Bullitt. Like
there's a very like specific strat or like a formula for naming like action stars, especially in like the 80s. I mean Bullitt. But, like, remember in, like, the 80s television shows, like the Fall Guy, his name was Colt, like a Colt 45. And then there was Magnum.
Got to have a manly name.
Who names their kid Magnum?
Well, his name was Thomas Magnum, right? Like,
right, yes, I guess
that was a lot. Because everybody's got the last name Magnum.
Yeah, because you hear that all the time.
Right.
There's another one, too, like Beretta. That's a gun.
Right. Or, fucking, wasn't there... Who is or like Jim Rockford's a pretty good. I mean, it's got rock in it. Like you've got all these super manly like characters in it.
I love the Rockford Files because he had like this one like friend. Was his name Angel? Who was just like a fucking like basically a street guy that he would go to to sort of like get inside information from the street.
Yeah, that was like that was great, and like obviously like Naked Gun like sort of took that and ran with it, but like. the whole sort of streetwise guy that just has his ear to the pavement and like somehow knows every criminal's activity and like rats them out to the cops every time, but like continues to get good information. It's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird because every time they had that in like a television show, it was like this ethnic person. And it's like, oh, yeah, he'll let me know what's going on the dark side.
Right, because I can't be bothered to like.
Right,
they're not going to tell me those
just because
shifty.
Just because I'm a private investigator doesn't mean I'm going to get my hands dirty.
Or like any show, like anytime you had to go to Chinatown or anything like that, like no white person ever goes into Chinatown in the 70s or 80s. Like they have their like inside guy that like has the most racist name they can come up with.
You know what? I totally forgot about this, but there's too many people in here. I brought the gun that I bought in Chinatown.
Oh shit! Well,
did I tell that story? Like
I think yeah.
Like right after I bought this gun, like a toy gun,
right,
for my costume, some kid in Santa Rosa got killed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like it's a lot of fun when you come home really hammered.
Well, did you remember that you bought it, or like was it a nice drunk surprise in your backpack when you're on your way to the airport?
These two, you know what? Let me tell you, the pigeons in my neighborhood are showing me a little bit more respect now that I have this gun.
Right. They may not understand much, but they understand firearms.
That's right. Oh, they understand this.
Christ. Well, what do you think? Should we? What do we? So we sort of covered the Guinness may or may not be a pint, but it's definitely not an imperial pint.
It's not an imperial pint.
Right. You know, according to Guinness, when you should stop pouring a Guinness
is when
the beer reaches the top of the harp. And then you like crank it off. And
it's such a weird symbol for Guinness. It's like, yeah, like drinking a Guinness is like that beautiful music you hear from a harp.
It's like
if that
in heaven but drunk.
If that beautiful music could like get into a street fight.
Yeah, exactly. Here's something you can take a swing at a cop with. A harp.
Exactly. A harp is a musical instrument and a weapon.
Right. It's made out of like practically nothing but piano wire. You think you can't kill a cop with it? Guinness.
You know, one thing I will say about this bar, like I didn't look at the menu, but I'm looking outside and they have a sign that says like, talks about like, I guess they're food specials. It's like a $5 burger, $5 sandwiches.
Right.
But my only complaint about this bar is the Guinness is $6. And like we're here like during a happy hour, right? I mean, I don't even know if they have a happy hour, but like if that's like a happy hour pricing, like it's gonna
that's pretty hefty. Like, and for not an imperial pint as well.
Look, man, I'm just trying to have a Guinness and celebrate my legless friend.
Exactly.
I don't want to go broke here.
How am I supposed to show up my crippled friend if I don't have Guinness? All right. What, dog or no dog? We got any? I don't think there's dogs in here.
I don't think there's dogs. There's food.
But there's dogs across
plenty
the
of
street.
dogs across the street.
That's right. Like the coffee place has you covered if you're looking for a place to bring your dog. But I feel like this is somewhat close to, or the bus anyway took me by Tony and Nick. So like we're almost like in a
Tony Nix
or Tony Nix. Oh, I broke my own rule. But yeah, like it's a little bit out of the way for us. So probably not a place that we would come to often, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I have friends who live in this neighborhood, and it's not a real destination for me, but I like this neighborhood.
Yeah.
I've gone to Greens a lot.
Yeah. Although, I mean, like our Barcast from Greens was, I mean, granted, it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals, so it was a big douche holiday, but man, wow. Oh man,
yeah,
were there a lot of horrible people there that night.
Yeah, that is 100% true. It's funny that was like the Game 7 of the NBA Finals, and the NBA just started.
Well, there was a guy here. Speaking of awfulness,
oh God,
no, he may listen, so I don't want to say anything too bad. But he offered to give us some local perspective, which I don't believe he has, to be honest.
He was giving us the sleeves from his tank top.
Exactly. All right. What do you think? Should we?
They play good music here.
They do, actually. I was going to say that. I've heard some Chromeo. I've heard some.
Yeah, that's
Daft
what it was,
Punk.
Chromeo.
I've heard some good old Gorillas with a Z.
Yeah, you would think that. I mean, like maybe this place has. I mean, it's just like maybe it's a station.
Yeah.
But like you figure like maybe down here you hear like a lot of the Killers.
Right. I went to like a restaurant yesterday, and like clearly, like they had stations on, and like one of them I guess somebody put on like a Halloween station, right? And and I noticed like that they played like the Monster Mash like 3 times. Like it wasn't very original as far as the station went. But so after like the second or third time that Monster Mash played, they switched it. And they clearly just saw another station listed Halloween, because this one was just like sound effects, basically. So like we're sitting in a fancy restaurant, like surrounded by like chains, like.
Yeah, because when you're like paying for a really good meal, who doesn't want to be scared?
Nothing enhances Spanish tapas like some guy going ooh into a microphone.
Yeah, tell me a ghost story while I eat this expensive meal.
Exactly. All right. Well, I don't really know of any Gone But Not Forgottens around here, so I'm gonna skip that one.
Oh, I think I probably had this when we did Greens, but at the Alhambra Theater.
Yes, I think we.
That is a Gone But Not Forgotten. Now it is a Crunch Sports.
Now I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna say Gone and Forgotten for that one. Fuck that place. I'm taking a stand. Now these theaters have had it too good for too long.
Exactly. You had a good run, Hollywood.
Exactly. Knock it off. Knock it off, movies. All right.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Let's do it.
So this is Jeff Cleary.
You are exhausted. I think
exactly.
We've all had a rough couple of weeks.
I'm going on a bike ride tonight, too.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so.
Wait, and you just did Critical Mass last week.
And now we have bike party tonight.
Wait, is this the first time you've been back on a bike since your injury, or?
I had my bike fixed yesterday, and so I was riding around last night.
Oh, okay. How much did the fixing set you back?
$30.
Oh shit, that's good.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Jesus, like what did I?
Honestly, my bike was not as injured as I was.
Well, it's good. Like you took you want to take the brunt of the fall for yourself and not your bike.
Absolutely. I have this huge mood bruise on my thigh. It keeps changing colors.
Well, and you had to absorb Doug as well, didn't you?
Don't in the crash.
Well, yeah. I meant in life. Well, now that absorbing is legal in California.
Thanks a lot, Obama.
Welcome to Obamacare.
All right. Well, let's sign off. This is Jeff Cleary.
I'm going to go get some of those legal drugs and have Obamacare pay for it.
Every time I try to sign off, you bring up Obamacare.
All right. I'm just going to go to sleep.
We have to have like a different way to sign off. We just have some sort of countdown or like.
What, you don't like the hold on to your knickers girls?
Wasn't there on Letterman once they had a top 10 ways Dan Rather is going to sign off on the news?
Right.
And one of them was like, he's just going to say, pour the gin, Lydia, I'm on my way.
Gin.
Sweet gin.
All right, grab some gin.
All right, we will see you next week. This is Jeff Cleary.
This is Andrew Lauder.
And we'll see you next week. We're signing off from Bullitt on Polk Street, Polk and Vallejo.
Screech!